utterly terrible, avoided like the plague. Hey everybody, welcome back to Viper View. My name is Victor, and today we're going to be looking at Thunder Force, the new Melissa McCarthy movie in Netflix. So, this movie is terrible. It's oof, wow, it's terrible. I watched it a few days ago and I rewatched it again recently, and it's like the worst movie I've seen in a really long time. It's supposed to be a comedy that isn't really funny. I think if I laughed maybe 5 times in the entire movie, it's a lot. The movie has been completely panned critically, both in Rotten Tomatoes and in Metacritic, basically getting terrible scores on both. So let's talk a little bit about the movie, a little bit about what it's about, and do like a breakdown of what it is, and then I'll give you my opinion on the whole thing. So the whole movie is another in the superhero genre. I don't know about you guys. I think this movie officially killed my interest in the superhero genre. After watching this, I was like, okay, I'm done. Yeah, it's like when you're old, when your parents tell you a joke or your parents adopt a technology that you like, you're like, okay, so that's pretty much the end of this technology. This is where that technology dies. So it's the same thing with this superhero genre. The moment Melissa McCarthy gets it, it dies, and this was terrible. So, what is Thunder Force about? It's about heroes, and it's about bad guys and mutants and things like that. So the story, I'm gonna break the story up in segments and what the movie shows you what the story is about in minutes. So from minute 1 to minute 7:30, it sets up the miscreant backstory. So it tells you that the miscreants were created from cosmic rays that came into the hit the earth and turned everybody who is a sociopath into a superhero, but only affected bad people. It didn't affect good people. So only bad people became these miscreant superpowered people. We also set up the relationship between Melissa and Octavia. Apparently they were friends in school. Starting with Octavia getting bullied and Melissa kind of butting in and bullying the kid that was bullying her. So it sets up Octavia's character as a weakling. I'm gonna call them Octavia and Melissa because I really don't want to think about the movie that much, so I'm referring to them as their actors. But Octavia was shy and awkward and smart, and she was bullied as a kid. And Melissa was a dumb, strong one that protected Octavia. So that's how that relationship is set up. Apparently, Octavia's parents were killed by the supers, by the miscreants. God, I hate that name. By the miscreants, and they were working on creating a superhero formula to make ordinary people into superheroes to be able to fight the miscreants. So that's minute 1 to minute 7:30. From 7:30 to 16:40 more or less, you get the Melissa's an adult. She's still a fucking idiot. She still has the same. She's in a deadbeat job. She's still exactly the same as she used to be. Kind of an idiot, a strong idiot that just goes along with things. And it shows them as an adult. So basically, they were from like 16 to maybe in their 40s, 50s. And my question is, how did the miscreants not take over the world at this point? If you have a bunch of sociopaths that have superpowers, how did they not take over the world? When they're the only ones that have superpowers, right? That was established. No good people have superpowers, so only bad people do. How do they not take over the world when they have powers like invulnerability, or they have powers like laser beams, or crab hands? Oh my god, crab hands. So, doesn't make any sense. So from that's what sets up from minute 7:30 to 16:40. Basically, Melissa is grown up. She's still a loser. Octavia grown up. Grew up. She's a millionaire. She has like a big company. She makes technology, and she was still working on the superhero serum. So from minute 16:40 to like 25 ish, we get that Melissa went over to Octavia's headquarters trying to get her to come to her high school reunion. And based on a few, like a lot of bad decisions one after the other, like leaving her in the room where the serum is, the superhero serum is, and then Melissa making a bunch of bad decisions until she actually gets the serum. All that happens. Melissa gets injected with the superhero serum. Boom, she's a superhero now. She has super strength and invulnerability. Whatever. One of the things I noticed here is when they introduced the assistant, the Octavia's assistant in the story, you immediately can tell she's a bad guy. Like you don't even like why set up a double crossing character if that character is not going to look like a good person that turns into a bad person. The second I saw her, she was like, oh, she looks like a bad person. She's going to be a bad guy. Like, I remember turning around and telling my husband that, like, turning to the side and saying, hey, she's going to be a bad guy, right? Definitely. And then Octavia, since apparently there was only one serum, why, I don't know, but only one serum for which Melissa used, and then another one for invisibility. Why they only created one, what happened to all the research that led up to that, no idea. There was just one serum. Stupid, but whatever. Suspend your disbelief that a company would not keep track of their formulas. Yeah, after that, from minute 25 to minute 43-ish, you get the extended training montage that had the same jokes over and over and over again. This is one thing that this movie did so much. It loved to hammer jokes in. Like, basically do the same jokes over and over and over again. If you didn't find it funny the first time, you're not going to find it funny the second time or third time or fourth time or fifth time they did the joke. It was the worst. I'm going to go over all the repeated jokes in the movie at the end, but basically it was over and over and over the same bad jokes. In this montage, you got the poor trainer getting hurt a lot by Melissa McCarthy. As Melissa McCarthy gets stronger, he hurts the trainer more and more. The other joke that's over and over is Melissa McCarthy getting injected painfully. So the first injections are in her face, the second injections are in her boobs, and then she gets a bunch of different injections, and every time it's painful, and every time it has like a weird side effect, and they show every single time. Well, they don't show every single time, but they show a lot of the times, and each time is not funny. I mean, one of them is she grows like bunny teeth. Why would that happen with a superhero serum? And if it did, how do they reverse it? They shave off her teeth? I don't understand. This is so stupid. And they have like bad CG when they do it too. They also, to kind of mirror that joke, to make the other side of that joke, Octavia, to get her invisibility powers, all she has to do is drink some pills. That's it. So this is basically the whole training montage. It's boring. It's stupid. There's a whole thing with her able to eat raw chicken. She lost her appetite for everything else. And that's it. The training montage is over and over the same thing. From minute 43 to 53, we get the first time that they're actually acting as heroes. So they go to a convenience store to stop a robbery, which is part of the main guy's plot to make the world seem unsafe. So the main villain's plot is to make the city seem unsafe, so that he can get elected mayor to control the miscreants. Again, how the miscreants haven't taken over the world, I don't know. Apparently, out of all the things that are happening, the only thing the miscreants are doing is robbing a convenience store. So Thunder Force, go there. And let's talk about that a little bit. There's a lot of naming conventions here that are fucking stupid. I hate all the naming conventions in this fucking game, in this fucking movie. Miscreants is a stupid name. Like, who's gonna use miscreants on a normal conversation? And when they say it, like in the news, oh, the miscreants that did, the miscreants this, that, did that. The entire time, every single time they used the word miscreant, I cringed. And I don't mean cringe like people ironically saying, oh, I cringed at this is cringy, this is cringy, this is cringy. No, I literally thought, oh, ugh, that's a terrible word for this. Like, why did they pick such a terrible word for this? They could have used supers. They could have used elites. They could have used, like, powered. They could have used villains. They could have used literally any word. That could have been that instead of that word. That word is such a weird word to use and not a good word to establish that. Every other thing was also stupid. Thunder Force is dumb when no one has any lightning powers. It doesn't make sense to name it Thunder Force. And nothing is even related to that. Even something more generic as Super Force or the anti-miscreants or even the antonym of miscreant could have been a better choice for that. And then Melissa McCarthy is called the Hammer when she doesn't have a hammer as a weapon. She just uses her fists all the time, which is also stupid. And then for Octavia's character, for invisibility, she's called Bingo. I know it's a joke. They made it a joke to name everything stupid. But there was no joke there. The joke is the name. There's no connection between anything else. So, to me, that's not a joke. To me, that's just them being bad writers and giving stupid names to things just to give it stupid names. Terrible. So, back to that. So we have the convenience store thing. We see that the jokes here is that Melissa is attracted to the bad miscreant there, or miscreant, who is the crab. They have like this thing, and there's a whole dancing thing, like they're dancing with each other in their imaginations or something. Terrible, very long scene. It felt eternal. That scene felt so long that I kept looking around. I looked at my phone during the scene. It was terrible. And the two jokes that happen there, main two jokes, is a guy gets tasered, which is Melissa McCarthy's husband gets tasered. And Melissa McCarthy's husband is in real life, not in the movie. In the movie, he's just a goon, one of the henchmen. Gets tasered for a really long time. Again, this movie had the thing that if it's not funny, let me extend it as much as possible to make it as unfunny as possible. And then crab jokes because the miscreant is a guy with crab hands. That's it. Played by Jason Bateman, who is a good actor in a bad movie. He needs to start making good decisions in movies, because I've seen him lately in a lot of movies that I'm like, this is not good enough for you. The same thing with Octavia Spencer. I know that she's friends with Melissa McCarthy, but damn, you should have not. This was not the way to go, sis. Nope, this is not good. So from minute 53 to minute to minute 1 hour and 9 minutes, Thunder Force is stopping miscreants from doing crimes. The bad guy becomes aware of this, and it's affecting their plans. So he wants people to stop. He wants to do one or two things: either stop the Thunder Force, or he wants them to join him, which is never gonna happen. It's always a constant thing. Like, I would like to see a movie where they actually join the bad guy, because that always is a plot point, and it never actually happens in any movie. It's stupid. And one of the running jokes here is that the bad guy keeps killing his lackeys, but not the correct lackeys. So instead of killing the bad lackeys that are bad, the ineffective lackeys, he kills the good ones, and then they get, like, everybody's like, why'd you kill that? Why'd you kill Dave? He's a good guy. Why'd you kill Dave? So this is stupid. It's the stupid joke that runs on over it. And I think it happens like 3 times or 2 times or something like that. And they make reference to it a lot, that he kills the good lackeys. So from minute 1 hour and 9 minutes to 1 hour and 15 minutes, they have the obligatory fallout. So Octavia and Melissa have a falling out because Melissa's character is impulsive as her character, and when they're attacked by Laser and she tries to like hit Laser back, she throws a bus at Laser, which is something she really wanted to do. Melissa makes a point to say that she wants to throw a bus. She really wants to throw a bus, so she threw a bus. Even though the bus didn't hurt anyone, Melissa did it, and Octavia is mad at her for being impulsive and doing it without considering the situation. So it establishes the problem here, that Melissa is impulsive and stupid, and Octavia is smart but looks down on Melissa for being impulsive and stupid. So they have this falling out. They break up. This lasts almost nothing. The next scene is Melissa having dinner with the crab guy, and then there's a sex scene with the crab guy. Both terrible. It's basically the same joke literally over and over and over again, which is basically crab jokes. I'm gonna put butter on your hand because it's, you're a crab. The raw chicken thing, they bond because they both like raw chicken. That's it. So that's the joke with that. The only smart thing here is that Melissa's getting information about the bad guy through the crab. That's the only like plot point that makes sense in this whole scenario. That Melissa is using his attraction to her to get information from him, even though it's not established as something that she's doing because she wants to get information. It's something she's doing because she likes him. So yeah, there's a lot of jokes here that are kind of terrible. After that, we get the makeup scene between Octavia and Melissa. They make up because they're talking about, Melissa tells them about what the crab said. They talk about Melissa had sex with the crab, and jokes are jokes. They're back together again. We find out that the guy who was running for mayor, the villain, lost the candidacy because Thunder Force basically made the city safer, so they didn't need a strong mayor, and Thunder Force endorsed the good mayor. So the guy, the villain, is going to set up a party where he's gonna kill everybody in the party by putting a bomb there. Like that's his master plan: murder everybody after he lost his election. Like, that's not going to get back to him. After that, we get the end scene where there's a party and then the bomb, and then Thunder Force goes there to save them, and then there's a huge fight, blah, blah, blah. Melissa McCarthy throws herself out a window with the bomb, explodes, and literally nothing happens to her. She's completely fine. So I don't know why she didn't throw the suitcase to the water. Would have been the same effect, or thrown it up in the air like Wonder Woman. Doesn't matter. Nothing happened. It was a non-scene. And that's it. The Thunder Force wins. The miscreants are, defeated. But that miscreant is defeated. There are miscreants all over the place. So what's happening everywhere else? That makes no sense. So overall, the movie was pretty terrible. One of the things I know, like I mentioned before, is that they repeat jokes a lot. So they have the same running jokes over and over and over again. If you didn't find it the first time, you're not gonna find it funny each other time, and they do it all the time. So one of the bad jokes is, oh, they eat raw chicken because because they were mutated. The only thing they like is raw chicken. So Melissa McCarthy tries to do gross out scenes multiple times when she eats raw chicken. That's it. That's the joke, eating raw chicken. And then Jason Bateman also eats raw chicken, and it's not even good raw chicken. Like you can tell that it's not real raw chicken, so they couldn't even get the effects correctly to make the terrible raw chicken. That was done multiple times, and in one she's zooming in eating the raw chicken and in a camera, like in a video camera, and then she crosses her eyes while eating the raw chicken. Why she's doing that? How did that play a part? I don't know. She just does it. It's funny. It's gross out. Yay. It's funny. They do a lot of crab jokes. One of the jokes I did like is that Jason Bateman leaves by crab walking to the sides. That's funny. That's the only joke I actually laughed at during the entire movie. Melissa McCarthy does the floss dance twice. The Backpack Kid's flossing. He does it twice. She does it twice in the movie. When was this movie made? That's really old. Like, I haven't seen anybody floss since before the pandemic. What the fuck? So, another running joke is the one that Melissa McCarthy does in all her movies, which is basically being a general fuck up, doing a lot of prank falls, doing a lot of like slapstick stuff, which is great. It's funny if you're a kid, but it's not that funny if you do it all the time. And that's basically become her character in every movie. She's the same in every movie, and that's not funny. Like, you have to expand your repertoire a little bit, Melissa. You have to become a little bit more, like, interesting. Like, I would have preferred it, and this is something I was thinking, I would have preferred it if Melissa was actually the straight man in this movie, and Octavia was the slapstick humor kind. So that way, it kind of shows a little bit of difference, and it's a little bit unexpected, and it'll be a little bit funnier. But no, Melissa's exactly the same way in every movie. And don't get me wrong, I'm not the type of person that hates on Melissa. I did not find Ghostbusters to be a bad movie. I thought it was forgettable, utterly forgettable, but I didn't find it terrible. I didn't hate it like everybody else did. I liked The Spy. I liked Boss Lady, I think it was called. Like, they were decent movies. They weren't like, oh my god, I'm gonna watch it again. I only watched it once and never thought about it again. But they were, decent movie. I didn't hate them the way everybody else hates them. So I think Melissa is capable of making decent films. It's just that she's getting stuck in the same thing over and over again. And that's unfortunate, because we need more good comedies out there, not the same exact things over and over and over again. Another joke that's done a lot is the henchman getting killed, or the wrong henchman getting killed. And there's also the laser wanting to kill someone. Like, she constantly wants to kill someone and makes it like, oh, can I kill him? Can I kill him? It's not funny. Like, again, it's not funny if you do it multiple times. I get that there's an idea of rule of 3 that you have to make a joke 3 times for it to be funny in a movie, or for at least to stick. Nothing. This is like rule of 7. They did it all 7 times, and it wasn't funny each of the times. I already talked about the naming convention with Bingo, Hammer, Miscreants, and Thunder Force. I think that was all stupid. One thing I noticed a lot in the movie is that they drill a lot of pop culture references in. What I mean by drilling is that they force it in. Like, they try to do the pop culture references over and over and over again. And if you didn't get it immediately, don't worry. They're going to spend a minute talking about that pop culture reference until you do. So that happened quite a few times, and I got most of the pop culture references. But pop culture references, the point is to identify and say, oh, that's funny, not to identify it and stick with it. That's what happened a lot in this movie. So I don't know if that was something they were aiming for, but there was a lot of awkwardness, a lot of scenes running a little bit too long, a lot of jokes running a little bit too long, a lot of things just being too long that it got to the point of being uncomfortable. I could tell every time the scene or whatever joke they were doing, whatever, was so long that it started becoming uncomfortable. It started becoming like not, ugh. It was, ugh. That's how I felt. Like, after a while, I was like, ugh. I wanted to stop, please stop. So that was one thing they did a lot. And the villain was terrible. Other things, the villain was terrible. He wasn't funny. His plan was stupid. There was literally no plot here. I don't even get the whole science behind anything. I don't get the how miscreants aren't identified, how they get strong, why only bad guys become miscreants. The mayor person is a miscreant, but when he got his powers, he was the age that Melissa McCarthy, or younger than Melissa McCarthy and Octavia were. Was he a sociopath as a child, and that's how he got his powers since he was a child? Or was he always bad and became a miscreant when he became a sociopath? So this is a whole thing. Like, how do the powers manifest in people? Only if it only manifests in bad guys? If that's so, then I would think that's something like a higher calling. Someone out there wants us all dead. That's it. I don't want to harp too much on this movie, guys. It wasn't good. I don't recommend it. My recommendation is to avoid her like the plague. I hope Melissa McCarthy makes better movies in the future, because I don't dislike her. I think she's decent. I really like Bridesmaids. I've seen her in movies that I like and I find humorous. It's just not this one and not recent ones. So I hope she does better. Now, one thing I want to mention, and one thing that I'm shocked, I saw that in IMDb that she's gonna be Ursula. No. Why? Oh my god, that makes me so anxious. Why is she gonna be Ursula? Ursula's supposed to represent I think she's supposed to be like a black woman, right? I think like that's how she's coded. And she's like this larger than life thing. And I do not see Melissa McCarthy on that role, and I think it's gonna be terrible. I can already feel it. I'm already dreading it. And I really liked Ursula. Ursula is one of my favorite villains from Disney. And this is, oh my god, no, please make it stop. That's it, guys. That was my review of Thunder Force. Utterly terrible. Avoided like the plague. It wasn't even decently watchable like some of the other movies. I would not watch this unless you want to suffer and make 100 minutes or so feel like 5 hours. That's it, guys. Let me know what you think. What do you think of this movie? Was it good? Was it bad? Do you disagree with me? Were there any jokes that you actually found funny that I did not like? Please like, subscribe, and to let me know if there's another movie or another thing you want me to talk about in the future. Have a great one, guys. Bye.